welcome to another edition of the Fixture List. And before I bring in my friend Robbo, I've got a song for you, Robbo. Play on, because you won't win a game on your own home ground. You won't. You are shite. You can't win a game on your ground. How's that?
Did that brain box of a knobhead told you to sing that to me, Sean Wallace?
I reckon that's absolutely fantastic. I think I'm going to get. I'm going to get.
People pay their
record that.
People pay their good license fee money to watch this guy answer questions and do the right thing, and then behind the scenes. Friday morning, he's texting Ernie to send songs to me, Sean Wallace. I'm gonna ban that show from the household, man.
And Lewis,
how you doing, Ernie?
I've been all right, you know. I've been absolutely splendid, mate. See, we've got the Fixture List in the background, looking good.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with you, Ernie. Yeah, it's looking all right. I think it's all right.
Yeah, I think it's quite good myself.
How did you manage to get that green screen? Because I know you, Ernie, you're not really good with technology, are you?
Robbo, when I came to your studio, you told me to buy a green screen in it, so I bought a green screen 10 months ago.
Yeah, but you said you're gonna buy a piece of curtain from Donga Arsden.
Then a piece of curtain from Arsden, but it looked good. If you was to see it in that curtain. If you was to see it in its natural thing, right? You know, it's spruced up now. If you was to see it natural, it come from K's in Alston, Rupert. A piece of curtain.
Yeah, piece of curtain from cloth from Kears. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. And I bet Sean Wallace used to hang out there with his mum's basket outside K's as well, while she was getting a piece of curtain measured.
Across the road. Yeah, probably. After they come from across the road, from the greengrocer shop where I was, they used to walk around to K's and fix up a piece of curtain, and Sean used to have the shopping trolley, but he will deny that. You know what I mean? He will deny that, but I know the whole truth and nothing but the truth, but we'll keep it right there. But anyway, Robert, when I spoke to you earlier
I was gonna say this. I'm not involved in the show today. I'm keeping it. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna ask everybody who's watching the show right now on Facebook, especially the Facebook, share that live what you're watching now. Just push the share button. If you share it, it goes round and round. You know how it goes when you share. So if you're watching on Facebook right now, do us a favor and just press underneath. You'll see share it to your page. Once you share it to the page, more people will be able to see that we are live right now on the Fixture List.
You know that. And of course, put your messages across the bottom as well. Drop your comments in the YouTube box and across the bottom of the screen, and we'll do our best to pick
We don't need comments today. We don't need comments. We all know what happened.
Man, I need comments.
You want to go today?
I want to hear what the people is thinking of you, because right now, Robbo, Liverpool is the worst defending champions in the history of football completely. You've lost 5 games at home, right? That's the first time that's happened to any team who's won the championship, the Premiership.
That after they've won the Premiership, the following season they lose 5 games at home. That's not a crazy record. It's not the worst record. The worst record is like actually dropping clear out and finishing 10th and 12th. And I hand that back to you, Ernie, because you remember when you finished winning the Premiership with Sir Alex Ferguson, you finished, I think, was 7th.
7th. But there's every chance that you might finish lower than that this season, because
but we shall pick up that conversation in May, I say. In May. Okay. You don't have that conversation in March.
You've only got 2 more months to go, bro.
Doesn't matter. You can't say we are the worst until the end of the season. But I take
you're the worst. At this moment in time, you're the worst defending champions in the history of the Premiership and the First Division. The worst.
That means nothing. That means that at this moment in March, we are the worst. It's like people used to say, if you're at the bottom of the table at Christmas, you're going to go down. That's a myth. Okay. And it was just like last season when people said, oh, you can't win. We won the league, done won the league in December. What
But
you talking about?
Remember, you lot was talking about domination for the next how much in seasons. Right now, you're struggling. Hard struggling. You know, last night, Chelsea gave you a lesson in your own backyard, a footballing lesson. All the boy Mount, he was mounting an assault on your team, single-handedly.
Yeah, Ernie's gone to the dictionary. Come on, Ernie. Listen, let me just say this.
What say you, Robo?
Let me say this. I didn't watch the game last night because, as you know, Thursday night, the most important thing for me is to serve and to protect my people with some good music. So that's what I was doing. I would have watched the game.
I watched the game because normally I don't watch Liverpool, but because I know what you do on a Thursday, I said, you know what? Let me watch it for me. I watched the game for you.
All right. So according to all the conversations I heard afterwards, it was no domination. It was a pretty much of a dead game in terms of Liverpool's attacking force, but it wasn't about a domination from Chelsea. If it was domination, they would have won more. If they dominated the game, they would have won more than 1-0 and scored in the first half and then sit on a defensive a lead. They were by all accounts, they were good. They were tidy, and that's all I heard. Nothing more. Nothing more.
I watched the game, right? First half, you lot might as well stayed in the dressing room. Second half, you come out a little bit more, but he took Salah off. That tells you all you need to know.
What does it tell you? What does it tell you, Ernie, if you take Salah off? What does it tell you? If you take your most attacking player off, what does it tell you? You gave up the game.
That you're not happening. You're not going to score. You take off your most potent weapon, right? That means you're not going to score.
And that's what happened. 1-0 to Chelsea. And I'll say this, big up Chelsea. But we move. We go on.
But I mean, you were saying to me during the week that it feels good to beat Sheffield United.
I never said nothing like that. I said to you, we beat Sheffield United. And you said, who did I play? I said, the team that came to your house and beat you. And you were like, I didn't say it feels good.
That's why you said it feels good to beat Sheffield United because they beat us.
You're talking about a team that's been peppering since 2017. I don't watch them little games. And to be honest with you, in football, I've learned, even as a Liverpool fan, and listen, you know, people say Liverpool fans are mouthy. We take our licks. When we get licked, we take our licks. I take my licks. We took licks. I took my licks.
You took licks. You took licks for 30 years. One season you come out on top, you're going to dominate, and then next thing we know, you're struggling to get in the top 4.
Do you know what? I'd like Anthony to pull up. There's a picture with Klopp posing and showing you the riches of trophy we've accumulated in a short space of time. Anthony, please, if you can find that picture, Klopp doing and showing you how many trophies. That don't strike me as a team that's falling apart. There is a problem. We all know the problem. Let's stop avoiding the issue that Liverpool has major injuries. We will go on. Our team is a good team. It's not broken. We don't have the problems like Man United trying to chase this legacy of Alex Ferguson. We have Jurgen Klopp not even at the wheel now. Jurgen Klopp applied the leadership.
Well, at this moment in time, I want Anthony to take that Klopp in and put flop in.
I'm here showing my allegiance to my boss. My boss has done things, bro. My boss has come in and he's shown you. He's come in and done things. 2 European finals, bro. Since 2007, and took one Super Cup League. Come on, stop talking. Come on, let's get on with the show. Let's crack on. As I said, we don't need any more comments about the game last night. I am going to say this. Ernie's going to take the lead because Ernie has been ventilating his concerns about international football, even though we're not in International Football Week. He's been, as you know, he's been very proactive, scorching the little kids who want to go off and play for Gareth Southgate. And they're like, no, I don't want to play for mommy and daddy's country. I want to go play for Gareth. Gareth has texted me. So, and obviously there's players. We're not going to leave this just solely about English players, Jamaican heritage. Although we're going to lead on it because I'm sure Ernie's going to tell you about the guests we have on the show. We're going to also be talking. We'd also like to open it up to some of the brothers out there who are who are proud Ghanaians, proud Nigerians,
Yes.
proud, you know, as you see, like with our friend Sahar, who decided to go and play for his country, Ivory Coast. And there's obviously Caribbean countries as well that's in with the shouts with a chance of getting a place into the World Cup. So we want to open it out to all the other islands as well in the Caribbean and places where some of the young brothers decide they get that text from the FA, like, you're wanted by Gareth to come to training at wherever they train again. I can't remember the name. St. George's Park, and come and train, and then they get that selection and that call up, and it's a proud moment, I'm sure, for them and their family. They look at it. So they go they go and sign up and play for England, only to find that they get one cap.
Yeah.
One cap. Jack Grealish get about 20 because he's one of our own. So that conversation, we want to open it up not only to the Caribbean islands, we want to open it up to the brothers out there who are, you know, as I said, from Africa, wherever. Come on, Anthony, you got to find that one. He says Ernie, he said which picture do you want of Klopp with the trophies? Anthony, or boom.
Yeah. All right, well, get me Fergie now with all the trophies, that Fergie one then.
I said in such short space
If
of
you
time.
want to go down that road.
Stop. We don't need Fergie. We know what Fergie did. Big
up.
No,
but if you want to put up Klopp, I'm putting up my duds.
We're talking about what Klopp has done.
You put up your duds. I'm putting up my duds.
I had a conversation with a good friend of mine earlier on today, and I that word, like, changing the narrative. You ain't gonna fix me with this Fergie narrative. I told you, Klopp has won accumulated trophies, good trophies, and won them well. You want to start telling me about what Alex Ferguson did 25 years ago?
But you brought up I bet you brought up Shankly.
I didn't even mention Bill Shankly's name.
Right? Better you bring him up. But when you're bringing up Klopp, I have to bring up my duds, and my duds is Sir Alex. So Anthony, find me some pictures.
What about Ole? What about Ole at the wheel? Is he not your done?
No, Ole's just straight right now. Ole's building. Remember, I keep on telling people, because there's a lot of people who wants Ole out. Me, I don't want Ole out. I want Ole to get a chance, right? Because remember, Fergie was about 5 minutes away from being sacked against Nottingham Forest, and my man Robin scored a goal, and the rest is history. So we got to give Ole time. You know, Devon and all them man there, Devon and Fidel and all them man there, they want Ole out as far as they're concerned.
Okay. Big up Devon and Fidel. Anthony, can you do me a favor? Big up Anthony, who's running the back room. Just change Ernie's name to Ole In. Can you do that for us, Anthony? Ole In. Yeah. Because, you know, just Ole In, because he's supporting his man. Ole In. Thank you very much, Anthony. So we have got guests on the show. I'm gonna tell you one of the guests, because even though Ernie made it, see, aka Ole In. Yeah, we have a special guest joining us tonight. He's a lyrical genius. He's been like one of the names that, when you talk about British reggae, if his name's not called in the top 5, you're sleeping. He's going to be joining us today. The great Tipper Irie is going to be joining us on the show. And because
hello, darling. Hello.
Not so much good looking. We're talking to Ernie here, right? And obviously, because we've got to, so big up Tipper Irie is going to be joining us, and you won't be surprised to know what team Tipper supports, because he events a lot. And also, obviously, we're talking about the subject about the international football and where Jamaica's concerned. And a few weeks ago, we had this discussion, and I'm in the firm side of, brothers, and they need to clean up on it. They need to clean up the house, clean it out. And Ernie said, Oi, I got brethrens who look after Jamaica and the what happens with Jamaican football. So Ernie, I know we got some esteemed guests on that side, right?
Right. So we got Winston Clark, who, when Jamaica comes to the UK, he does all the groundwork. He organizes the matches here and makes sure they've got hotels, and he liaisons with Jamaica. And then we've got the
Are you sure
general
the players-
secretary.
Hey, are you sure the players get hotels? Because that's not what I heard.
Yeah, man, they get out. So where do you think what they stay around at your place?
No, well, I don't know. Someone said when they come and play for Jamaica, you have to itch somewhere and find somewhere for itch. Because Gareth provides 5-star hotels, you know. Ask Raheem.
Yeah, but Gareth don't supply it. The Football Association supplies it. Gareth is just the manager.
Oh.
And beside, right, if we add just a little slice of the money that the FA had for our players down in Jamaica, because you know, if you have a tenner, you know, says enough Jamaican dollars. So imagine if we had just a slice of the money that the FA has for our boys down in Jamaica, they would be in more than 5-star hotel. Enough dollars. You know what I mean? So we got the general secretary and Mr. Win of the Jamaica Football Association. He should be joining us as well with Winston. So, you know, any questions that you got to put towards Mr. Win, I suggest you get them in now so that we can see them and we can put them forward to him. You know what I mean? So we kind of looking forward to that.
And if you have the question 5-star or 2-star, you can put it to Mr. Win. Hey, I'm staying out of this one. I'm just saying straight. Broom,
Robbo,
broom, broom.
You was the one who was adamant. Clean up in the yard. That was your favorite word.
But that's right across the board. When I talk about music, I talk about it in the same way. I ain't about here talking about, these are the problems. We all know the list of problems. But right now, to start getting that list tidy, you got to start from within. You got to start right in your own house. You got a problem in music, clean that out in your own house. And it's the same with football. So I apply that analogy to everything. People, right now, if you're watching, I'm begging you today of all days, please share the show on your Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, just copy the link and please share it. Put it in your WhatsApp group. Please share it. That's all I'm asking. Just share. Just share.
Big up to Curtis Jr. Curtis Jr. from Necessary Mayhem. Also to Guess Who. I need to know who this Guess Who character is because he seems to be very prevalent in the show. So we need to know who he is so we can get him some tickets to go and see his favorite football team.
What is his favorite football team?
I don't know. That's why we need to know who he is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Of course, we got Rodney Hines, the big voice of sports from the Voice newspaper. Great Rodders, very shortly. The laid back Rodders. And Edward should be joining us as well at some stage. I know he works for Auntie over in Portland Square, and he's got to get all the way over to Isgaff, the big mansion over on the east side of town. So we hope that he's going to join us very soon. So it's action-packed this evening. So once again, get your sharing going. Get the sharing going. Get the messages on the bottom of the page, and it's all systems go. I don't know if Rodney's with us at the moment. Yeah?
So Ernie, when they start beating me bad, what should I do? Should I just go white rum or red wine? What do you reckon?
Mix the two of them together. Mix the two of them together. That's what I would do, because you're gonna need it, mate. Because the way your team's going on at the moment, boy, you're gonna need more than white rum and red wine.
Hey, where's them loudmouth Chelsea fans? Where's them loudmouth Chelsea boys?
Huh?
Where's those loudmouth Chelsea boys? Chelsea, where are they? I can't see none of them. I saw Lewis pop up a minute ago.
Yeah,
chatting up Lewis.
You know that Lewis is there. You know that because he was on it from early. Yo. Who's that? Mark.
Oh, Mr. Yearwood, one.
Who's that?
Yeah, don't worry, he's Liverpool. He's Liverpool all the way. Guess who is a United fan to the world and back?
I'm back. I war.
Hey, so he's one of your boys.
Big up this.
Hey, Lewis Mastermind. Oh, Lord. All right, take him off.
Any special message for Robbo this week, Lewis? If you have, type it in there. Let me see what's going on. And on that note, Rodders is here. Can we bring in the legendary Rodney Hines, please, from the Voice newspaper? Good evening, Rodders.
Evening, gents. How you doing?
Not bad. Well, I'm all right. I'm not too sure about old Flop over there.
Rodney,
what are you talking about?
Rodney, does my mood change in defeat?
It never changes. Nah, you're upbeat. You're upbeat.
Of course, I'm upbeat because I know I've been there before. I've been at the bottom, and I've been at the top. I've been places. I support Liverpool. We go places.
I want I've got to shout out Lewis though. Lewis, Mastermind Ben. He must have been drinking champers last night. Woo, damn.
There we go.
Ronnie Big beating stick.
Ronald's in beating stick. All COVID secure in here.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So,
Well,
Rodney,
Rogers is here.
I'm here.
Ronnie,
What's happening? Talk to me.
Good evening.
Talk to me. What's happening?
it's been well. That's what I'm. This is why I'm kind of like. I'm kind of giving it up to you this week because although you wasn't right with your predictions, but you're more sane than Ernie and you're more relaxed about football where we are now.
Ernie don't want to get too bright, you know. They're playing Man City on Saturday.
No, well, you know what happened? Whatever happens against Manchester City, I'm prepared because I would love to think that we're going to win, right? And if the Pog was playing, I would be more upbeat. But I think we can sneak a draw.
Listen, the record's got to go. Their record has got to go at some stage. Not necessarily Sunday, but it's got to go at some stage.
What you want to sneak draws for? What you want sneak draws for? What kind of draw sneaking you?
Well, I'll tell you what. If we sneak a draws, right?
Draws. Watch your Ernie.
If we sneak a draws, right? Compared to Everton, that would be a good result.
Well, you are not far behind them. You're 6 points behind them. What the hell do you want to be sneaking? You want to take their head off?
We're 12 points. We're 15 points behind them.
15. So much too much. Sorry.
We're 15 points behind them.
I tell you what, though, guys. If Man United keep sneaking draws, they're going to get done by Chelsea.
Yes.
Trust me, you're going to get done. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think there's only maybe about 4 points in it. I can double check that if you want me to. Let me just double check that on the
4 points. 4 points.
Is it 4 points? Yeah.
Yeah. We can get Chelsea can catch us.
You keep sneaking draws, mate. You're gonna end up like Dwight York. You keep sneaking draws.
Yeah.
I end up like Dwight.
By the way, she's still looking for you, Robert. She said she's not giving up until she finds you.
So Man City's clear gone, but I'm sure they'd want to turn over Man United good and proper and just silence everyone. And I listen, I ain't wishing for it. I'm not wishing for anyone's head right now because I've just got to secure my own at this point. But I feel Manchester City will rub out United this weekend.
Well, how much did they rub you lot out, Robbo? 4-1, isn't it? 4-1.
3-1. No, 3-1, wasn't it? 4-1.
4-1. At Anfield. At Anfield.
Yeah, because they're playing well. They're on top of their game right now.
Okay, so they ain't rubbing us out 4-1.
Why? Because you're sneaking draws.
Draws. Not draws. Draws with sneaking draws. Rodney, what do you reckon? You reckon they're going to... That's what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, you can't see anything beyond a City win. I mean, they make 6 changes and it's still so slick, so sexy. It's a great watch. I mean, I don't care. We've all got our teams and there's different styles of playing football, but watching City play is a thing of beauty right now. Do you know what I mean? You got, as I said, you got a left back or a right back in Cancelo that is just making up the numbers in midfield. So it's a great watch. I'm bearing in mind that they had arguably the trickiest start to the season of all the big teams. They've really turned it around, really impressive. If you get it's interesting, United, for all the away success, will bring that to the party on Sunday. And City clearly won't want to be beaten by United, and United clearly won't want to be beaten by City. But listen, I'm putting my money on City to do the business.
You watched it. You watched Liverpool last season run away with the league, and this year we got Manchester City running away with the league. What have you pinpointed? Because I didn't actually get to see many of City's games last season because obviously Corona and the break. I didn't get to study the form. But what was it? What was the difference in the way Manchester City has taken charge of the league this year? What difference have you noticed with?
I'm not going to try to be clever, Robbo,
but I can't because I haven't watched them.
Do you know what it is? I'll go backwards to go forwards as such. Obviously, Liverpool have been affected by injuries more so than any team in recent times. But you can have a Diaz and Laporte as centre halves for Man City. One of them can come out and you can drop in John Stones, and it's a seamless transition. That's what Liverpool haven't been able to do. So I'm really going to answer that question by talking about squad depth. They've got 2 world-class players almost for every position, and I think that's come to the fore. Sterling sometimes doesn't start. Foden, Gundogan, but in comes De Bruyne, the other Silva, etc., etc. So I just think it's really squad depth, and I've looked at them at recent times, you know, Robbo, and you know what? For the most talented squad in the country, if not Europe, they work so hard to get the ball back. They're always pushing, and I think, you know, that's no different to Liverpool under Klopp last year over the last couple of seasons, where they work so hard.
Is there a stark difference in playing style? Because as I said, both of these teams, like, I mean, Liverpool stretched out so far, and I'm watching Liverpool, so I'm just in my zone of Liverpool. I watch the plays, and I'm like, wow.
Do you know what it is, Rob? I just think that, as I said, we can't talk about Liverpool's season without talking about injuries. But all I'm going to say is, if, say, there were 2 strikers up front for Liverpool getting injured, yes, Jota was in, and that was probably one of the biggest misses of the season. But in comes a Origi or a Shaqiri, you know, that doesn't work. As I said, I think it's really about squad depth that makes the difference. Because Liverpool at their best over the last 2 or 3 seasons were a joy to watch. I just think that there's a lack of energy there now. There's clearly a lack of belief. I mean, if you look at that Mane chance early doors yesterday, wow, 9.5 times out of 10, you know, Rob, he's putting that in the back of the net. But I think the confidence there, they're thinking about the game too much. I think a lot of players at Liverpool have all gone into the ratings of 5 or 6 out of 10, all at the same time. And I think that's got to be based on confidence. So I think it's squad depth for Man City. When both teams were really at it, Liverpool and Man City, there wasn't too much difference between them, honestly. Because when they played each other, invariably they cancelled each other out, didn't they?
Yeah, there was always hard work and industry between them.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You know, sometimes I look at Man City and I identify this really slick passing De Bruyne and a very, very cute Raheem Sterling. And you can see that in Liverpool, there's a lot of industry, but you've got 3 guys who clap hard up front. So, it's for me watching Man City, and they're not obviously not the team I want to watch. But when I watch them and I see that they're running away with the league, I'm thinking, wow, did Liverpool actually do the same thing last year? Did they run away with the league like that? Because it's hard to stop them this weekend.
Yeah, in a slightly different way, Liverpool ran away with it last year because it was pressing. And we don't see Trent and Robertson now at their very best for Liverpool because they're actually being made to defend. Do you know what I mean? Because no centre halves of any note, which then means that your midfield is then decimated. It's all had a knock-on effect. So Liverpool at their very best over the last couple of seasons. Don't forget, Champions League, Premier League, you cannot sniff at that. Liverpool have been a top team for a long time. I think where they are now gathering the headlines is just the decline. I mean, 128 years of football at Anfield and 5 successive losses. That has never happened. So that's why it's making big news. If this had happened to an Arsenal, which it has, or a Tottenham or whatever, it wouldn't be as big news because Liverpool invariably have been standard setters.
Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, we you know, I had to say it last night. Was it the week before, or was it week before? The week before that we've given up on the league.
Before that,
it was the week before. The week before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the game when we lost to City, I was like, okay, that's where it's at right now. So my main concern is like what happens internally at Liverpool and getting it right and be back.
Robert, I don't think losing to City is any disgrace.
4-1 in your backyard.
It's no disgrace. They've gone to Liverpool. Don't forget, under a different regime, clearly, City went to Chelsea on one Super Sunday and wiped the floor with them at the Bridge. And I know Chelsea are a different proposition now, right? But I'm saying losing to City isn't like unexceptional. As I said on this show before, is that I really do think that the challenges for Liverpool have come because the so-called smaller teams now come to Anfield, no crowd, no cop, obviously, and think they can do a job. And that's just unheard of. I mean, Anfield has always been such a fortress.
We're gonna talk about the games coming up this weekend, most definitely, and obviously Liverpool's got worries, and we're not talking about Frankie Paul worries in the dance because Fulham need it and they want it and they're playing really well, but we don't know how well. They don't score a lot of goals, but they're playing. And remember, we watched the game with Liverpool and Brighton. Brighton just came and played well, and they came away with a victory.
Well, put this way. Fulham, as you said, need it. They will know that if ever there's a time to play Liverpool is now. Mm-hmm. So that's the issue. And even a point for Fulham would be semi-decent. So this is the issue. This is the issue right now.
I mean, they were robbed against Tottenham last night. I
didn't actually see that incident by all, and I think they've actually changed the regulations overnight because of that incident. Yeah. I think the handball rule now. I think the handball rule now is slightly different to what it was 24 hours ago. It's a joke. Football's a joke right now.
When Kante handled the ball, when Firmino hit the ball, that was a clear penalty. We didn't get a penalty.
What was that? What, last night?
Liverpool. Yes.
Last night.
Yeah, but by the same token,
Oh yeah. I remember that.
You told me that wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, that was a penalty. Yeah, that
was a penalty. You also had a scenario that for me, the boy Werner scored a very good goal that was wiped off. So you just don't know what's going to happen. I personally.
Why did they gave a offside? Because they obviously done their funny.
Because he had a very thick toenail.
Yeah, because the lines are like this. The lines are supposed to be like this. Every time you watch it, especially against Liverpool, the lines is like this.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think as football fans, we don't necessarily want to see it. We don't want to see goals ruled out for that. I certainly don't. Not when it's that close.
I'm sure the person down in Stockley Park, when they took the lines and like that, and they goes, no, you can't give it. And they tilt the line. I'm watching these games and I'm thinking, and you know what? We are going to have a show about referees because let's just face it. I think these guys that are refereeing the game are no different than the guys that are running the country. They're complete arseholes. These guys are not. They may have the title, but they not
up to it.
They're not up to it, bro. It's like change it. Why would you change a rule when you watch? I watch the Champions League. And I'm watching the Champions League referees. I'm not saying they are better because they let things, they blow up for everything in the Champions League. For minor things, they blow up for. But most of the times in the Champions League, you watch most of the games. How many times have you come away watching a Champions League game and said, boy, the referee got that one wrong? Blowing up for fouls, they're at it. I just think the guys that are running the English football games are incompetent. That's the only word. And there's a lot of people that when you watch them, and listen, my eyes don't tell me lies. Those referees look incompetent. They look incompetent. Terrible. They run to the camera. They look at the camera. The line is leaning, and they still give the bad decisions. They are incompetent. But we'll do a show about that, most definitely. Ernie.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you think it's time we can bring in a man who have on a brand new gunning shirt?
That's not a brand new shirt. The shirt is as old as his team.
No, that's not a brand new shirt. You had a brand new shirt on the other day.
Shirt. A Rodney Brethren.
Love it.
So I'm sure he's in the building. I want to let him in nice and early. It's if he's here. Anthony, where's Anthony? Anthony, is Anthony in the building? Oh, Anthony needs 2 seconds.
Yep,
it might come true. Okay, you're gonna have to give him a call. All right, so listen, we're gonna get him up in 2 minutes. So definitely, we are going to talk about international football. Just on the refereeing decisions over the week. You're saying that they're changing decisions like overnight. How does it look for you writers when you're writing about the game? You must be thinking to yourself, what the hell am I going to write tomorrow morning?
There's so much uncertainty that, do you
know the rules? Do you know the rules, Rodney?
Some of them,
No.
most of them, I think so. But those.
What does that mean? When the line is like that and the man's toe is,
I mean,
He's
last
armpit. What does that mean?
night, Werner got a really good goal wiped off because he had, a sleeve over that said line. Ridiculous. We don't want to. We want to watch goal. Football is about goals. Okay, we love defenders as well. The John Terrys, the Ferdinands, the Campbells, the Van Dijks. Yeah, but it's entertainment. We want to see goals, and I'm really disappointed that those lines reflect disallowed goals. I mean, you can't even celebrate now when the ball hits the back of the net.
I think the lines. I think the armpit. I think if he was using Gillette instead of Nivea,
yeah, or Astral.
yeah, because it's like the sweat. They said no. They mark it from the line, and they say, where did the sweat come from? it's. I'm telling you, people. I know I beat people because they're doing a job like everybody else, but I swear those referees may have done their books and their courses. They're incompetent. I'm sorry. You cannot run to a camera and get an earpiece and the man say, give it. No, don't give it. And you give it. You're an idiot. Referee. Incompetent.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, he's ready, Robbo, and so is Eddie.
Eddie
Ready.
and Mr. Henry.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's the great Diary. I mean, young Island Diary.
Look at that shirt.
Hey.
It's a disgrace.
One second, Tipper. I got to do this dry face brother here. Brother,
Here we go.
I posted a clip last week.
Yeah.
And my friends overseas, especially in Jamaica, they said, Robbo, we brother, we are laugh at you. Brother, we are laugh at you the whole time. Who him be? I said, he's all right. He said, why is he laughing at you like that? Why is he laughing
I'm not scared of Jamaicans. We used to have Jamaicans. We used to have Jamaicans at my school. They were all shapers.
Listen, it wasn't badness they're bringing. They just couldn't understand why did I let you laugh at me so much. They said, was he in the same room as you, Robbo? Why you not punching me? No, he can't do that.
Mr. Henry,
Robert, he's going to start laughing at you in a minute. He hasn't even started talking football yet.
Mr. Henry, can I just say to you, you know about this. A couple of times you tried it with me, and you know your place now with me. This brother here now, he come on the first one. If you ever see, in the old days, when you catch it when you was younger and you could just swing it around. That's how the brother was getting on with me. And from me do that, I said to him, until you do right by me, everything you touch gonna go wrong.
Tipper.
Yes,
the man
sir.
was there laughing at me. I'm talking serious football, and he's eating monkey nuts laughing at me.
No, I said here, man.
Come on, Tipper, that insult
You
that.
got to remember his brethren is Robbie G.
That's an insult.
They're comedians. That's what they do. They take the piss out of people.
Tipper, how are you, brother?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Good to see you guys, man. I'm blessed, man.
That's a nice shirt. That's a nice shirt.
I'm
you
Rodney. Nice to meet
It's
you,
not.
brother.
And to you, sir.
Eddie, as always.
Respect.
And
God,
much
God bless you,
respect to-
respect you.
You know I can't deal with Ernie, you know what I mean? Because he's like,
Right.
you know what I mean? We can't deal with him, Eddie, you know what I mean? But the only thing that you two got two things in common: you support Man United, and apart from that, that's it. Eddie's a nice guy, Ernie. Yeah, he's got respect, you know what I mean? But you're bad. I was watching you lot last week. And you was taking a piss out of my team.
Yeah, that's right. They were.
You know what I mean? Daddy Ernie, especially, right? He was taking a Mickey out of my team. Look, we've all been here.
Tipper. I said in the clip when I was laughing by the dry face brother down there, right? I said in that clip that I know how to get them in. And here you are, an Arsenal fan.
Well, look,
Irie, you watched last week, brother?
We've all been in this position. I mean, obviously, Man United, they dominated the Premiership. You know what I mean? You got all your...
Say that again, Tipper. Say that again. I never quite heard you.
Well, you dominated the Premiership. We all know that, right? You know what I mean? But my team, we have some credibility. Yeah?
What?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we've all been in that position where your team is going through a transition period. And I would say that Arsenal is going through that at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. We've got a manager that's learning on the job.
Let me do an Eddie Nesta. Let me do an Eddie Nesta.
Tipper, I think that you're speaking a lot of sense, and I'm just glad you decided to come on when it looks as though your team is going to avoid relegation.
Well, you know what, Eddie? I mean, at the end of the day,
Eddie,
I
I'm
man,
mean,
Rodney's
you're taking
team as
the
well.
I'm
man.
being
You're
honest
taking
with
the
you.
man.
Rodney's team as well, you know. Don't get it twisted. Rodney's involved as well in it, you know.
Yeah,
Rodney
of course.
Hart.
Well, look, I mean, I'm telling you now, we're playing Burnley at the weekend, and if we beat Burnley, I think we reach 39 or 40 points.
40,
That
40
means
points.
40 points. We're safe.
Yeah.
So I've written off the season already. I kind of, after I see how things were panning out, I said, you know what? I just want to avoid relegation. Hopefully, we got a glimmer of hope of the Europa League. So if they take that, you never know if there's a chance for us in that. So if we win that, then hey, we're in the Champions League. So that's all I've got to look forward to. That's why when we just scraped through against Benfica, I was very happy because the season would have been over otherwise.
Tipper, can I ask you, because we asked the question?
Yeah.
Who is Cedric? And what? Because Ernie still wants to know. Is Cedric? What's it? Who's Cedric? Who's Cedric? And when
Cedric.
and Pepe, is that the guy that scored?
No, Pepe scored. Leave Pepe alone. He scored a goal.
Is that the guy that cost £75 million?
Oh, you mean Pepe?
Pepe.
What you got to remember? You got to go easy on him because we're only paying in installments. Yeah, so we haven't fully paid the full whack yet. So when
look, he started off.
By the time
look, he's laughing.
But by the time by the time it comes, by the time they pay the full whack, he should be good by then.
Look, it's infectious.
We need to know. We get asked this question every week, Tipper.
Yeah.
Right? Rodney can't answer it, so we're hoping that you can answer it. Who is Cedric?
I've already answered the question weeks ago.
You didn't.
Well,
I did.
You said he was a painter and decorator.
No, that's what you said. That's what you said.
Now I'm struggling to work out who you're talking about.
See?
I'll tell you who they're talking about, Tipper. They're talking about the guy that replaces Bellerin at right back. He come from Southampton.
He's a decent player.
Cedric Suarez is his name.
He's a decent player. He's he's replaced Bellerin when he's come in. He replaced Tierney at left back for a couple of, and he did all right. And then when he came, when he comes in, he's a decent player, and he's got better end product than Bellerin.
Absolutely.
So
can I ask you a question, Tipper, as a super fan? You made a point about your team being in transition, and definitely there are a lot of teams in the Premiership that could say they're in transition. But haven't you been in that particular transitionary period for about 12 years now, in terms of what follows Henry, Vieira, Anelka, your Black Four as you had them? The steel through that team has not been there. It's like lots of players who like touches. So if you're doing well, but there's no one to organise them, no one to pull them together, and that's exactly where you are now, isn't it?
Well, I would think that, if you look at the management situation at Arsenal, I just don't think they chose right. They picked a manager that can instill, because for me, if you've got something that worked, like, Vieira and Petit in the midfield, they've never been replaced. He tried it with Diaby, and Diaby he kept getting injured. So Wenger was, he was trying to keep that core, but that's still, but he changed over to the tiki-taki Fabregas type players, and it still kind of worked with what's that little that midfield player,
Sanchez.
Cazorla.
Because Sanchez was brilliant for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
it was rubbish for us, but he's brilliant. Having said that, he scored 2 goals midweek, so
yeah, So we got management, Ernie. I think we picked bad managers myself.
I think bad management has been the key to that, Tipper, over the years.
I think it's above that, isn't it?
No,
Yeah, the
but
board.
that's part of the management as well. But I
Right,
mean,
yeah,
let me
okay.
throw this into the ring. Haven't in terms of United and Arsenal, who at one stage dominated the Premier League, right? Made the Premier League sexy and famous, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of those. If it wasn't United winning it, it was Arsenal winning it. Aren't United, who haven't won a trophy since 2017, also in some level of transition?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
slightly ahead of Arsenal in terms of that development. I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean we'll talk about that, but we got the super fans. But I would say absolutely. But what is interesting to me is that you can have one good team. It's taking it past the 1, 2, and 3 years. So if you look at my, our crazy manager, he managed to get a couple of good teams together. Part of the challenge now for Arsenal and I dare say Liverpool, because a couple more of these, and you are going to be talking about Klopp out. You have to. How do you galvanize it? It's all right when you're doing well, but how do you turn it around when things are going wrong? And that's where Arsenal are.
And Ed,
Well, you see, Rodney,
what you got as well, though, guys, you've got a scenario where United and Arsenal have had that decline. Okay, you've also got teams now, because of the big bucks and the Premier League money, who can go out and improve their squads. So you've got, the Evertons coming through. You've got the Aston Villas coming through as well.
Is theirs money or a manager? I'd say theirs is a manager.
But what about Leicester City? You can't knock what they've done.
A manager.
Yeah, a manager.
That's a guy who come within, a paper, a Rizzler paper of winning it with Liverpool. That's a good manager.
Absolutely.
He was doing great.
It goes back to what I'm saying with Arsenal, Eddie. Do you know what I mean? If we had Emery had a good track record at was it Villarreal?
Villarreal.
He had a good track record
PSV,
there,
right?
He had a good track record there. So when he came in, it's like giving them, let's give him time to see because he just made a couple of mistakes before he left. He just made a couple of mistakes towards the end of the season. If he won them games, I think it was Brighton away. And if he won that game, we would have been in the Champions League.
Agreed.
And it might have been a different argument.
It's those
but they
fine
sacked
margins.
him.
Fine margins.
So I think maybe knee-jerk reaction with the manager, but I think he lost the dressing room. That's why they got rid of him. But Arteta with Arsenal now, it's like we can get a guy like Arteta in. He's not good. It's not Ancelotti or somebody like that. That's pedigree that's going to make his demands and say, look, I'm coming, but I need this, that, whatever to do my job. Arteta,
what would Brendan Rodgers have done with Arsenal?
Well,
what would Ancelotti?
No, it's a question. If you want to invest in
Brendan Rodgers has shown that he can coach players, right, and get results, and he backs young players as well. Tipper makes a great point because Ancelotti and Arteta almost took over their respective clubs at the same time. I think it was the first game that they played, Everton versus Arsenal, was a horrible game from what I remember. But already you can see the value, as Tipper said, of Ancelotti's pedigree at Everton, challenging for a top 4 place, making Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin world beaters, potentially, yeah? And then you've got on the red side of North London, the most inexperienced manager in the league, making mistakes as he goes along. So there, you cannot underestimate the value of experience.
But he's an Arsenal legend, Rodney. That's why he's there.
Remember, Rodney, a lot of Arsenal fans, when they heard that Arteta was going to be a manager, they were going, yes.
Oh, they were going to win the European Cup.
They thought they were going to win it. And
I weren't one of them.
But going back to the Brendan Rodgers, to be fair to Arteta, Everton spend. They spent money, and so has Leicester.
And Arsenal not going to do that. Arsenal not going to do that.
Arsenal not going to spend. So you got.
When Liverpool had a challenge at centre half and goalkeeper, what did you go out and do? You spent over 100. You went and spent over 100 million on 2 players at centre half and goalkeeper, and it made you.
And bought a central midfielder.
Yeah, but it helped you to Premier League and Champions League. Arsenal, as I understand it right now, are not going to spend 70 million pounds on one player right now.
No,
but they spent on Pepe.
Yeah,
that was how long has he been there now, Rob? How long has he been there?
been there about
long enough to know it's not going to work, but long enough to know it's not going to work.
The Pepe, the Pepe project ain't gonna work.
Right. So all right.
No,
Tipper.
but can I ask? Sorry, can I ask Pippa one more question? Sorry, Ernie, but I think it's the power structure above with whoever wants to buy the club, the fights about the shares of the club and all that. Weren't you the team that? Just help me now. Suarez was available for Liverpool, and you lot tried to buy him for £1 more than it said on his minimum contract, right?
Yeah,
have I got that right?
Yeah.
But that is a statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
To the player, to the other players, that you lot are a Mickey taking kind of setup, and that's what you're struggling with.
Well, you see,
Don't take it. Don't take it from them tips. Don't take it from them.
No, I'm not taking. I can hear the banter, and I'm willing to
serious?
embrace the banter, you know. And I expect this kind of banter from a comedian, and somebody, and you got to remember his partner in crime. They both support Man United, and you know my heart goes out to them. But you know, at the end of the day, if we get back to the serious conversation, you know what I mean?
Which is an Arsenal.
When last did you finish in the top 4? Is a serious question. You're not a top 4 side anymore. That is a statement of fact.
You're right.
You're right. We're not a top.
No, look. When you're a mid-table,
You're a wind-up, Mr.
Yeah. When you're a mid-table team, you got to accept the fact that at this present moment in time, we're a mid-table team.
Yeah, but you're not Arsenal. Arsenal's not a mid-table team.
Hang on. I mean,
that.
It's like cups that we win. All of a sudden, the FA Cup. And all these cups that we've won the FA Cup 14 times, more than any other club. And it's like when Arsenal win it, it's not important, you know. But I can tell you now, you know. But if Tottenham, what's Tottenham won?
Exactly.
All right, let's leave Tottenham out of it. There's no Tottenham man to defend it.
No. I'll have a go. I'm old enough to remember when perennially Arsenal would finish above Tottenham. There'd always be an excuse: bad pizza, bad belly, whatever. Now, looking at the Premiership year in, year out, no one expects Arsenal to finish above Tottenham, and that is the indictment, isn't it?
Ed, you say that. Hold on. You say that. Hold on. You say that. But if you look at the table, there's a matter of 2 points or 3 points between Tottenham and Arsenal. So. I don't understand.
Do you think Arsenal will finish above Tottenham this year? Let's done this argument.
Done it. Tipper and Rodney. Like how we're here and we have obviously business to talk about. You are the first game tomorrow, 12:30.
Yeah, Burnley.
We're going to Burnley.
Yeah.
Burnley are not 100% safe where they are. They could be drawn into a relegation battle. I'm thinking Arsenal could go up to Burnley and do a job and draw them closer to Sean Dyche, to his brethren Steve Bruce and the other idiot. No, that's the idiot at Brighton. What's the guy's name? Can't remember his name. You can draw them in. Do you think Arsenal go there and beat Burnley tomorrow at 12:30?
I think if he goes there and be positive and plays Aubameyang and Smith Rowe, Xhaka, and Pepe on the left. If Partey's fit, I'd play him with Ceballos. Yeah, if he goes there and he goes positive and plays his flair players, we'll win very easily. If he goes there and be negative and plays El Neni and Xhaka in the midfield and stuff like that, and God knows what. And Cedric. Well, he can play Cedric because Cedric's all right at right back, mate. You keep taking the piss out of my Cedric. Yeah? He's a good boy, mate.
Cedric.
Boy, there he is.
I know this brother.
Player.
I know him, you know.
Player, mate.
I know that brother there.
Out of my Cedric. Cedric's all right.
He served me the other day.
To answer your question, I think we'll go there. I think we'll do him 2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
Rodney, what's your score prediction for tomorrow? And I always ask you, who's playing in defence for Arsenal? Cedric?
I think it will be... sorry, Rodney. So I think it'll be Cedric.
Right. Yeah, go on.
I think you'll play Cedric, David Luiz. He'll probably give Gabriel a start and Tierney. And we're good to go.
I see that. I can see that one as well. I say 3-1 to Arsenal.
Wow.
Okay.
3-1
Big
to
top.
Arsenal. Yeah.
Okay.
Sean
Well,
By the way, hold on 2 seconds. Last week, Robbo and Ernie, you thought we were going to get slaughtered by Leicester City. Do you remember that one?
I did.
Yeah, no,
Yeah?
I was surprised. To be
No, I
honest,
didn't
I was
say you
surprised.
slaughtered. No, I
Yeah?
didn't. I was defending Arsenal. I didn't say slaughter. I was one of the only ones. I think you'll find Dryface down there was saying it, and Ernie. It weren't me.
But
No,
is
I
it me?
sure.
But
I
Ernie,
sure.
is it me? But don't you? I can't stand Sean Dice. You know, I can't stand looking at him.
Hey,
No,
here's the obvious question.
Sean Dice don't play
Here's it-
black man. There's no black man in his team.
See,
Yeah,
No
that's
black man
funny.
in Sean Dice's team.
Hey, before I could
Yeah.
say anything, no slaughter Ernie was in. I was about to say, what is it that you don't like about Sean Dyche? And Ernie just
No
went
black
straight in.
man playing in his team.
Well, that is
But
one
maybe
that, you know,
Ernie, maybe no black players want to play for his team. How about that?
Is
'Cause I
there
don't
any?
go to-
There are
You know
definitely
the question-
challenges from what I hear.
Hold on. You know the question? Is there any black people in Burnley?
Well,
There
Ian
are.
Wright played for Burnley.
There are black players.
Well, what I would say, what I
People.
would say to that, guys, yeah, I mean, there is just something narrative about Sean Dice that I just can't. I don't even like to hear him.
What you trying to say? What you say, Tipper? Just say it. What you don't like? Just say it.
No, I just can't.
Who's Dwight McNeil? Who's Dwight McNeil? We got a picture
Plays
of
for
Dwight
Burnley.
McNeil.
Play for Burnley on
Is he black? Is he black?
Very,
He ain't playing for
very
me.
talented player.
Is he black?
Are we
don't
going to go?
know.
Are we going to go on to other big games this
Yeah,
weekend?
we are going to go on to the other big games.
Are we going to go to
Well,
other big games?
well done, Rodney.
Thank you.
The other big game, obviously, me and Ernie talked about it, and we did mention the most feared team in the Premiership leading the table. Let's just go straight to Manchester United, Man City, and Tipper, you can chime in also because you've had a chance to watch Man City. You took them on and you gave them a good game at Arsenal. So at least Arsenal are credited for starting something in terms of playing a good game, but coming away obviously as a loser. But Arsenal definitely, Arteta definitely gave Pep something to think about. What do you think about Ole doing the same thing, giving Pep something to think about?
Well, I think Man United do have a few players that can hurt Man City, but I just think City is just a class above everybody else at the moment. So I can't see nothing less than maybe a 3-0 to Man City.
Yeah.
Tipper,
Damn.
Tipper, I told you to take that shirt off.
Red Ed.
So this one's interesting because if you do stats, then you can see they were one of the longest winning streaks in their history, and I don't think Man United are doing badly away from home. To my recollection, we haven't lost a game away from home in a hot minute. So technically, it's set up for a really good game. Although I've got to say, and I'm embarrassed to say, I had to put down my mint tea and go to my bed when I was watching Man United against Crystal Palace, and I didn't even check my phone in the morning because I know that kind of game there's no kind of goal that's ever going to be scored in that game there. It was awful. I don't know that I've seen a worse one. It was terrible.
Terrible.
Man
It
United
was really bad.
Man United have been involved in some really bad games.
Man.
Yeah, I mean,
So how do you think you're going to do it? How do you think you're going to do it, Eddie?
Not
Come on,
well.
Eddie.
I mean, not well. I mean, there is. If you look at Fred giving the ball away, well, they were all giving the ball away. We effectively had, you've got your top line on there. It wasn't as though, apart from Martial, it wasn't as though there was people to bring on to make a change. I don't know why Danny James didn't come early on. Pogba's injured. I think sometimes, as I say, you see people's true value when they're not there, as opposed to when they are there. Looking at Matic play, doesn't look like the same player. McTominay comes on. He's definitely going to play. I think he's become really, just behind star Portugal.
He'll be chasing
Fernandes.
Kevin. He'll be chasing Kevin.
He becomes funny enough. Kevin hasn't been hot really.
No, you're right. You're right.
He hasn't been hot recently, so he isn't the one that I'm looking at. But they just got You know, this is the part of the season, Tipper, where the squad comes in, right? So all of the Leicester are going to see they're going to have some challenges because they've got some serious injuries. It's the squad. And Man City have got a squad unlike any other in the Premiership. He had £350 million on the bench the other day.
Let me ask.
Right, so
Hold on. Ernie and Eddie, let me ask a question. Man United went top of the table on January the 12th or something of that nature, right? And after that, all the results have gone dubious. How do you explain that? And one of the things I think is a challenge for Man United is the manager, right? For me, he's got a lack of a killer instinct. For me, it tells me why he started a lot of the games when he was a player from the bench. There just isn't that final drive that takes the team to another level. What say you?
Rodney, me and you've had this conversation before, right? I think Ollie he's got to have a chance. He's been there how long has he been there now?
Why?
So hold on. How long has he been there? 2 seasons?
About 3 seasons.
Hold on.
He's been there 3 seasons. Fergie was there for 5 seasons and 5
I'm talking
minutes
about Fergie. That was in 1970.
Fergie was there for 5 seasons. He was 5 minutes away from getting the tin tack, right? Robin pops up and scores a goal. Forget all them other man who they want to bring in. Leave.
Hold on. Let me
Listen, we're the best of the rest. We're second. We're the best of the rest. We're second.
Let me just say this.
Hold on. If you're saying that
what is the problem? Liverpool was 30 points ahead of us last season. How much points are we ahead of Liverpool this season?
But hold on. Let me just come back.
Answer the question, Robbo.
Let me just come back.
Robbo,
the way you're talking now, and you're making it sound like you're talking about Everton or Sheffield United. You are Manchester United.
Exactly.
You are the standard setters allegedly.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And if you're saying that Ollie deserves a chance, what does Arteta deserve then?
No, well, I don't know. I don't business about Arteta. I don't support Arsenal.
All right.
Rodney, let
me have my say.
My manager, I'm backing my manager.
Hang on, let me have my say because we didn't get a chance. Once we didn't get a score.
No, you ain't got no say, Robert, because Liverpool's got 8.
I have got a say because you just talked about being.
You lot are the worst defending champions.
Hello. You talked about Liverpool being 30 points ahead. Just remember, even a pop-down, mash-up, beat by everybody, beating stick Liverpool, you're only 8 points ahead. You ain't doing that great. You're not doing that great.
8 points is enough, Robert. We are the best of the rest.
All right, okay, all right.
Let's go. City. You've got City.
Hold on.
And then you've got Manchester United.
All right,
and the rest.
All right, I'm gonna done with this Mickey Mouse conversation.
Eddie hasn't answered.
Eddie hasn't given us a score prediction. Come on, Ed, stats man.
Well, I haven't given you a score
prediction. I disagree with Ernie, which is why I'm staying quiet. Because if you compare.
Eddie, hold on.
You look like a chipmunk. You mustn't eat nuts. That's how you look with them big old cheeks there. You look like you're storing food for the winter. That's what you look like. I think that if you can't compare Ollie to Alex. Alex had already taken a championship away from the big 2 in Scotland when he came. He came as a manager with success. And I think what actually backs your argument even more, Rodders, is that
Eddie, success, Scotland. Let's get it right. 895 games won. All right, so anyway, that's for Robbo's.
Yeah, but if you look at Scotland, there's only 2 teams that are set up to win, Rangers or Celtic. Anybody else win anything, you have to take that on board. We had a team win a cup the other day, and it was the first time for 5 years that any team other than Celtic had won any of the domestic things. They'd done a treble or something ridiculous. So it has to be taken in perspective. Ollie doesn't come with any track record. And if you look past the game at the PSG when we came back from that ridiculous thing, right? Past it, that game at Crystal Palace, the fact that he didn't make changes till he made changes, told me everything. You got people
what are you
making
saying,
changes
Ollie
at half time. You got people. No, I'm not saying. I think he's causing a problem because he's not doing bad enough to sack him, but he ain't doing well enough to keep him. So how many semi-finals have we got knocked out? How many times? He just that little bit that you need, he ain't got it.
And that's the point.
Right,
That's the
what are
point I
you
was
saying?
making.
Are you saying Ollie out?
No, I'm saying that he isn't bad enough to sack, which is in itself a problem. Because you can't look at Man United, right? I tell you, a brother sent me a picture, right, of a tyre on the top of a lamppost when Man United was top of the Premiership. And I knew exactly what he was saying to me. How the bleep did that get there, is what he's saying. And all the games since have proved it. Man United ain't firing on all cylinders. We're not operating properly.
All right. You said we're not firing on all cylinders.
What's your score prediction, Ed?
Robbo. You ain't got no talk tonight, you know, Robbo. You're just making up the numbers, right? But hear what happened, right? You're saying that, Eddie. You're saying that, right? But
yeah,
we are second. So how bad are the rest?
Wait,
Well,
listen,
hold on a minute. Hold on.
tonight.
If you ain't careful, you ain't gonna end up second. Trust me.
Ernie.
Well, we are at the moment.
Ernie.
Okay, you're at the moment. All right, we'll live with that.
This is not a Manchester United loving. Your manager's inept. Can we have your score prediction?
I'm hoping for a draw.
Ernie, what's your score prediction?
But I think they'll beat us 2 or 3-1.
I'm saying
you said you're going for a draw.
I said I hope Ernie, you and me can't fight. If me and you fight, we have to do it on our own. I don't want to fight in front of Robbo. He will use it against us.
All right. What you saying, then? What you saying? 3-1.
2-1.
2-1 City.
My score prediction very simple. 2-0 Man City.
2-0.
Sterling
2-0 Man
well.
City, Robbo. What you saying, Rodney?
3-1 City. 3-1 City.
3-1 City. 3-1 City, Rodney. Oh my God. Thought you was my mate.
But you make it sound like City can't. You make it sound like City can't score 3 goals in one game. It don't matter.
Not against Manchester United. They ain't scoring 3 goals against us on Sunday.
All right then.
All right.
Okay.
Listen, there are obviously other games. If we can squeeze them in, I do want to talk about them because there's interesting games.
Because we got Mr. Jordan.
Can we talk about? Hold on. Can we talk about Liverpool Fulham? Can we talk about Liverpool Fulham?
No, man, don't worry about Liverpool, man. Liverpool ain't got no say.
Yes, Rodney, let's talk about it very quickly. What say you? What
say you? More importantly,
well, I'm always going to look on the bright side. I do believe Liverpool came up against a team last week, which was, I'll make it very quick. Sheffield was at the bottom of the table. I think Liverpool needs a Fulham game. People will say Fulham needs a Liverpool game. Right about now, Liverpool needs breathing space, any amount of breathing space. And I think Fulham, although they play a very nice style of football under Scott Parker, one thing they lack is a finisher. They could get goals. They could get a point. It would do them great. But I think Liverpool, they need that breathing.
I don't think it will be a formality though, mate. So
I didn't think the Sheffield was going to be a formality, but I did say to the guys, Liverpool would win. But what I'm hoping for in this game is that Liverpool take this time to rest players and actually put in some of the squad players and come up, even if it's a scrappy one.
You can do that, you know, Robbo.
I think we can. No, I think we can. I think if it's a scrappy win.
You was going to make it quick, Robbo.
I'm going to make it quick. So I think this game.
You're not even making any sense, Robert.
Why am I going to be quick? Listen. My sense is my prediction, and I'm telling you, I believe it will still be a scrappy game, just like the Sheffield game. It wasn't a fluid game. We won't play fluid football because there's no confidence. But I do believe at the end of the day, Liverpool will overpower Fulham. It will be a 2-0 win to Liverpool. And now take back the talk.
Okay.
You know, that bit makes sense. The bit about playing squad players is just nonsense. Yes. He has to get some kind of rhythm there. If he changes the team, Robbo, and they lose or draw, then what? Don't be silly.
Not about rhythm. We've got European games coming up. You need to start playing players. Those players are tired and lacking confidence.
That isn't why you ain't playing well. You're not playing well because of something I told you in the first week. One of the reasons that you got beat as a child is that you don't listen. You don't listen.
Got nothing to do with that. Anyway, guys, Ernie. We did say clean out your yard, clean out the cupboard. And we had this conversation about Jamaican football, and as I said, it's right across the islands because this problem is right across the island. And is it a problem? And we also have this situation happening in football where young lads who are their family heritage is Ghana, Sierra Leone, Jamaica, or Nigeria, or Ivory Coast. They end up playing for Gareth. They get the text, come down to St. George's, come and train with the lads, come meet up, you're in the squad. And they show their father, and the dad's like, but they say, Dad, I'm playing for my country. And they go off and play for their country, leaving that the countries that we're talking about, some of the islands and some of the African countries, leaving them short of talent. They get one cap and they get discarded. But we were saying that there's a reason why a lot of players do that. The opportunity is there to go and play for a country, possibly qualify for a big tournament with a big team, and all the other trappings that comes with the football. But Jamaica has been a problem. So Ernie done a little bit of investigating, and he's rolled in 2 of his mates to clean the yard. Yeah,
to clean the yard, as Robbo says. So we've got from the Jamaican Football Association, Mr. Dalton Wint, who is the General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Association. We want to bid Dalton Wint a very good evening to us here in the UK. I don't know what time it is in Jamaica.
What is that shirt?
Dark, but it ain't that
he
dark
can't be
in Jamaica, I'm sure. Oh, here we go.
But Mr. Wint, Mr. Wint?
He's an Arsenal supporter, isn't he?
Mr. Wint. Your mic's off, Mr. Wint. Your mic's off, Mr. Wint.
Mr. Wint.
Mr. Wint.
Welcome.
Mr. Wint.
Greetings, everybody.
Love the shirt, brother.
Mr. Wint.
Yes, man.
Mr. Wint. There seems to be a problem that we believe on this side, but we'd like you to throw some light on it. That
light on it.
The players. Are you attracting players to come and play for the island?
Absolutely. And first, I must correct something. We are not an association, we are a federation. The fact is that we have been doing fairly well in recent times. We are now 47 in the world, and our program is on the up, and we are very attractive at this time. Yes, we are void of enough sponsorship, but in terms of on the football field, we are doing fairly well.
Okay. We get the information over here that why players don't want to play for Jamaica is because they don't get the treatment that they feel they deserve. I.e., we hear stories of people having to pay their own fare to come and play for Jamaica. What is that? Can you tell us, enlighten us of what is going on?
What you mentioned a while ago about people paying their own fare to come and play for Jamaica is absolutely false. It's not correct. What we can afford, we will definitely afford, and most of our players are travel as comfortable as we can afford for them to travel.
Is that first class?
In some cases, players do travel business class, or they get their special seat that we choose for them. And remember that it is sometime an airfare to travel from England to Jamaica will cost in excess of 1.5 million Jamaican dollars. And understand the economy of Jamaica. It's not as the economy of an England, Brazil, United States, and the other big first world countries. So we have to understand our situation and treat it the best way we can and make our players as comfortable as we can make. For the most part, we try to get our players into business class seat.
Especially
when they're traveling long distances.
Okay, has there been that conversation? Because, in terms of the treatment of the players and the welfare of the players, it's not so much we just about the airline tickets, but we're talking about the welfare of the players, that they may suffer injury, they may suffer various things could happen to a footballer at any time, any place, and for any team. But when it's leveled at playing for the countries, like playing back home, sometimes the players who are kind of grown up in a and cocooned in a certain style, playing in the championship or playing especially in the premiership, that they are not, it's like they're like a fish out of water playing for those countries. Is there any truth in that?
No, absolutely not. They do welcome the opportunity to play for Jamaica. And as I said before, we make them as comfortable as we possibly can. We are not awash with cash, but if our players are injured, we get the best treatment that we have available to them, and ensure that they recover speedily.
Okay. There's also go on, Annie.
Is there a problem when you approach a player from the UK? Is there a problem with them playing for the country of their parents? Because we get, I think people like, well, I can go back as far as John Barnes, who's a very good friend. People, I mean, I don't see how come John Barnes, who was a Jamaican who came to the UK, why he couldn't play for Jamaica, like Sterling at the moment, who plays for England. Why he can't be persuaded to play for Jamaica in the beginning? What is the problem, or how do you go about making that happen?
Perception is one of the things that keep people away, because it is presumed, like the question you asked about how the players are taken care of. The perception is that we don't take care of our players. You have 20 of them sleeping in one room. That was way back in the 90s and in the 80s when our program was, not properly funded. Yes, it's not perfect at this time, but we do reach out and try to treat our players like how are as close as possible to how the first world countries are treating their players. Opportunity is one thing, because if you play for England, there's a lot more opportunity. There's less traveling. There's more exposure for you than if you play for Jamaica. But if it's for the love and the camaraderie and what we are about, then you will definitely choose Jamaica. I'm positive if Raheem, he grew up for the most part in England. He was cultured that way. If England approach him and Jamaica approach him, the first the priority for him at that time would have been for England. But if we probably turn it around now and approach him, he might consider Jamaica based upon the fact that he comes to Jamaica, experience the culture, the food, the people, and the place himself. It is not something that is told to him. He experienced it for himself. Then he would have chosen Jamaica. And I can tell you, even today, we had conversation with people, with players, I won't call their names now, who are very much interested to come and don the colors of the Reggae Boys.
Who have you attracted in recent times to come and play for you? I haven't had a chance to check on us.
We have Maverick playing for us, Ravel.
Ravel Morrison, I see that he's yeah.
Yes. Those are some of the new additions that it's playing for us.
Was you excited to have Ravel Morrison?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ravel is a real talent. He plays just like how we have a lot of players play Jamaica, what we call skilled players, have a lot of touches. And he's exposed at the highest level. He was a part of the Manchester United setup. And so he was exposed, and he can contribute to the program. He has what it takes to contribute to our program here.
Is it also conversation that Antonio from West Ham is looking to don the Jamaica colours?
Yes, we had a conversation with Antonio. It was a very positive one. He's interested, very much interested to give us the support and help us to qualify for Qatar 2022.
So, we want to know, is he going to come and play for Jamaica? Let's get to the point.
Yes. The short answer is yes.
Good, big things.
Dalton, do we have a scenario where the Jamaican Footballers Federation is now moving on an upward trajectory? Because we've heard all the rare that is going on. Are they, because yourself and Theodore Whitmore is now actively involved in the Jamaica Association? Is it an upward trajectory? Can we say that we're moving forward? Because I'm an advocate of people supposed to play for their parents' countrymen or business. You know what I mean? And we need to attract these players to play for Jamaica so that people who are coming from behind will say, yes, we want to play for Jamaica or Nigeria. Well, the Nigerians actually is turning down England now. So we need to see that happening in Jamaica. We're on an upward trajectory.
Saka didn't turn down
performance, if we can get the performance on the field to its optimum level, then we'll have people, we'll attract people. And in attracting players, we will attract sponsors. That is one of our biggest impediment, is to finance our program. If I heard you and I listened to most of you guys spoke about your clubs that has big money. Manchester City has 300 million people sitting on the bench. If we could get the support, I am telling you, we would qualify for all the World Cups that we enter. We just need financial support. We do have the quality.
Dalton, you've stumbled. You stumbled since like 98. You haven't quite reached the mark. Is there any of the criticism that's come your way in terms of how the federation was run? Do you think that had any bearing, or is it because players weren't being attracted? What do you believe are the firm and hard reasons why your failure to qualify from the World Cup since them heady days in France?
I guess you're speaking specifically to the senior men, because we qualified for 4 other World Cups apart from the senior men. We qualified recently for the Women World Cup.
Yeah, the women's been doing well.
We have been making steady progress. It's not something that is shouted from the mountaintop, and we need to do that, because people thought that it's the only time we qualified for the World Cup was in 1998. No, that's far from the truth. We have been qualifying youth teams, and we recently qualified the women. We know that it's a work in progress. We have quite a bit of things to correct and to build on, but we are working on it, and we are hopeful that the plans that we are putting in place, we have a 5-year strategic plan, and the plans that we are putting in place, as long as those plans are supported financially, we are positive that we will do better this time around and possibly qualify for the 2022 Senior Men World Cup.
Well, we look forward to that.
What about a West Indian team?
Ain't gonna happen, Ernie.
This question is answered by Lewis, Mastermind.
Lewis, stick to cricket, Lewis. Lewis,
we leave that to the cricketers. That will not happen again in football. They tried it once, it didn't work, because we're sovereign countries. We are FIFA members. We have the full rights as a FIFA member. As I said before, we are in the top 50. We are punching above our weight. Yes, you can compare us to Ireland, but the fact is that it's not just the population, it's the economic base. We are way down the ladder economically, but we are surviving and we are doing well. We're punching, as I said, above our weight.
Right, can we bring in Winston? Who's an active member here in the UK? I noticed that Eddie ain't saying too much. No, Rodney. Can we bring in Winston Clark, who's responsible?
Yes, Rodney.
Am I right, Ben? Winston, you're responsible for all the arrangements when the Jamaican football team comes into the UK?
Yeah, you can say that. And you can also say that I seem to work UK hours as well as Jamaican hours. Still working on the compensation package to ensure that I'm properly compensated, Dalton.
For who? Compensated for who? Spill the beans. What's going on?
Well, let me just say, Dalton expects me to work day and night. Look at him, he's fresh as a daisy. I've been up UK time. I've been up their time. So we're working on that. That's a work in progress.
Well,
One
listen.
second. I want to address a question that Robert Ranks asked earlier on regarding. He said, "What's the problem?" Let's look at the whole scenario. So, when a player like myself or any of you guys that were born here in the UK, you grew up in the UK, you're obviously living in a Caribbean or African cultured house, but your football experience is more than likely going to be amongst your peers and friends of England. When England sees quality or talent, they bring them through the youth ranks, under 17s, under 15s, under 18s, under 21s. Where the barrier comes is players get this high expectation of being the next Beckham or the next Gerrard or whatever, no matter where they come from, because they see that opportunity. We watch TV every week, every day. We see how England can fill a stadium with 90-odd thousand. So your mindset is completely England. So unless the Caribbean member associations do more to educate youngsters, whether they're from St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, Jamaica, Barbados, wherever, until we do that and say, by the way, Mummy comes from XYZ, you can play for them. We don't do enough for that. You guys know about Jamaica, you know about maybe a little bit about Trinidad, but how many people would honestly say, yeah, we've seen a Barbados play football, St. Lucia play football. They've all got national teams, but there isn't enough done, in my opinion, by the Caribbean Football Union, which is the sub-body that looks after all the member associations, to educate our youngsters. All of us have probably got kids or grandkids or whatever, to say, you could actually play for your mum or granddad's national association.
Well, listen, we brought you in, Winston, and Ernie correctly said that you look after the Jamaican football team. I'll say more than that, because the first time I got to see Jamaica play and was actually got to wrap the colours around me was you invited me. You said, "Robo, come and watch the national team." And once I watched the national team, I was hooked. And that was me. I would have done anything. I tried to play music for you for the national team. It was a big thing. So you also look after the managing the games when Jamaica does play. You filled many stadiums. You've done it at Old Trafford. You've done it at Loftus Park. So big up to you. I know that Ed's in the house and he's itching. You see when Ed the beard when he starts going like,
yeah.
Moi says something, because his team's not going on with nothing really.
Okay.
But Ed, you had a few things to say, Ed. Chime in, if possible.
Is he talking to me, Rodney?
Yeah.
I think it feeds into this idea that, you're born in this country, you're educated in this country, and we've got a Jamaica, Dominica, Nigeria flag in our car or whatever. If you're looking at bright lights, you're looking to make a living, because that's the first thing. I understand that people talk about glory, but the infrastructure is here. So that's where you're going to want to be. And it isn't just black players. Where's Zinedine Zidane from? It actually speaks to the developed world against the developing world. I think it's really difficult when you live in the host country, when you were born in the host country, because technically, aren't we supposed to be describing ourselves as British?
Yeah, that's a fair point. But here's the thing. We spoke to a number of players today, and part of my remit is to do the player acquisition here in the UK. And one of the things that they all said is they're going to feel so proud for themselves and their family to represent Jamaica. They didn't. Two of them actually talked about, well, we had a chance of England actually played for England under 18s. It's not the same. That's what they said. It's not the same. And from Robert said, and many of you have been to the games that we've done. We did it on satellite. We did live games. The vibes it's not even like a football match. There's music playing. There's people enjoying themselves. The food, the whole cultural thing. And so it makes it more of an occasion. But coming back to the football, we still need to do more. We need to do more with development. So what we're doing at the moment, we're trying to plaster over the cracks because we haven't got what we think, or the federation thinks, is the total quality to get to the World Cups. Robert raised the question about why was it only 23 years ago that Jamaica qualified for a World Cup? Well, we qualified the same time as Japan. We both qualified for the first time in 1998. And what's happened? Japan's gone like that, and Jamaica went like that. So Japan has qualified for all the other 5 World Cups. Jamaica's never qualified since. So
But they
what it means,
they,
no, it's not only just, it's not about the money, it's about the investment in development. Because if you look at the Japanese team, you've got players that were being schooled for the last 20 years in development, and now here's the fruits. We've got to do the same thing. What we've always done, we've always just gone out and got players to come and fill the gap.
Might I ask a question about infrastructure? Sorry.
Sure.
I was going to ask
because we don't we don't say let's go to Britain looking for the next Usain Bolt, do we? Or the next Shelley Ann. So there are areas. Jamaica is one of those interesting countries that punches well above its weight in a number of things, but actually through the collegiate kind of setup. So if you had players in Jamaica that you invested well in or money in, I think then you would more attract people from other countries to play for their parents' home country, as opposed to looking to set that structure up from people who are educated and who were born in other countries. Just a thought.
That's a good point, because you mentioned about looking for Shelley Anns and Usain Bolts, but England does do that. Britain do that. They look. If you look at the English teams, the sprinters, most of them are from African or Caribbean backgrounds. They always look for talent, no matter how they can find it. But and Dalton will bear witness to this. That Jamaica has a very, very strong schools athletic system. And what's been happening over the years since the advent of Usain Bolt and Shelley Ann and the rest is more and more people from Canada, from the States, from the UK are going there to find that talent. In some cases, waving a few checks around and saying, we could give you a college in America, for example. Come and do your studies there, and by the way, you can represent us after a couple of years. So it's happening all the time. But what happened with Shelley Ann and with Usain Bolt is that they were firm. They just decided, no, we don't need to go anywhere. We're going to stay in Jamaica. We trained in Jamaica, and we developed. And football can follow that same thing. What Dalton said is that the federation right now is trying its best to cut its cloth according to how it can operate under the constraints, the financial constraints right now. The sponsors are not there. Every time there's a sporting event, can you imagine this? If you're Red Stripe, if you're, I don't know, the cement company, if you're some of the big companies, Sanders, whatever, every time someone does an event, whether it's sports, cultural, or music, they go to these same people to get sponsorship. What we need to find is a system whereby we've got an attractive product in the football. We've got TV rights that we can sell, so we can get money in from there. And then the sponsors have to follow because they want the audience.
Win, let me ask you a question. Quick question.
Sure.
You've obviously got your finger on the pulse, and I know we have lots of positive conversations. It's big news at the moment that Premier League players and Championship players look like they're looking at Jamaica, or Jamaica look at them, whichever way around you want to put it. If Jamaica acquires the Mikel Antonios, the Liam Moores, the Mason Holgates, etc., one, do you think that will be a growing trend? And secondly, will that help you, because of the nature of those players and the clubs that they play for, help you with the same so-called sponsors that you're talking about?
It could do. What will obviously happen, the profile will be raised, because you can see even this week alone, on the back of Mikel Antonio's comments, there's been a whole raft of media coverage in terms of players that we've spoken to, and it's been leaked, and then we've just gone public and just mentioned the real names of who's involved. So yes, it would help towards sponsorship, but I think what's really important is that 2022 is a critical path for Jamaican football, and it's important because if the National Association gets to the World Cup and derives the revenues that comes with it, just from the football side, not the commercial side, just the football side, it means that people like that are coming into the program at the moment that will help us to get over the line, there's some of them are 27, they're 28, they're 29. And so they won't be with the program in 4 years' time. So what I think, and Dalton's right there, you can ask him, if the investment is put into development for the next generation of players to play in the national program, then you've got your development growth coming through, and you're attracting players of a high standard overseas. Hopefully the sponsors will see this is a growing product, this is something we need to get behind and invest, because that's the only way we're going to do it.
So Winston, so why do you think, since the success of the Reggae Boys,
yes,
and the popularity of football, why do you think there's a lack of funding?
Well, since '98, we haven't been successful enough to qualify. So that's the key. We've got close, we've got to the last round, we've got to the hexagonal, but we haven't got through. So once that happens, it's a bit like you're sitting there waiting for dinner, but when the dinner comes, it's cold, and so it's an anticlimax. You just think, oh, forget it, and that's what happens. The fans, people like your good self and others, who would patronize the Reggae Boys when everything's going great, just dies away. It just naturally dies away. And there are people that would support through thick and thin. But I'll give you an example. If Jamaica came here in May of this year to play football, how many people would automatically go, why? Me, I forgot. Me, I buy my ticket. How many people? But if we qualify for the World Cup and it's 2023, we've been to the World Cup and we come to play in England, what's going to be the response then?
Yeah. Let me ask Mr. Win Dalton. Here's another way to that I'd like to throw a boomerang at you. Might not be a big boomerang. So we've been talking about players like Mason Holgate, Antonio, Premier League stars coming to the island and playing and supporting the countries of their heritage. Is there a route for? Because we used to talk about Jamaican footballers. The names escape me. Some of the talent that used to play on the island, that used to play in the local teams. Why did that funnel of channeling footballers like Bibby Gardner and the other player played for
Waterhouse, who played for Watford? What's that guy who played for Watford from Waterhouse?
It's quite a few players. Fuller, yes. And oh god, the other one, the defender, he played for
Davis.
He played for years. He played up in
Claude Davis. Yes, Claude Davis. You had Gardner. You had Jeremy Johnson.
Walter Boyd.
You had
Walter Boyd. I haven't even called his name. He played up in the northwest of England for years for Tranmere.
Oh, Goodison.
All right.
Yeah,
so
Goodison.
we also had, obviously, off the back of '98 World Cup, these guys got a chance to shine. But where has that funnel, that route for players from the island to actually get seen on a championship level where they can go off and play for? I remember Winston at the time when I was speaking to Winston. Winston had a lot to do with helping the players settle in the UK, and there was players going off to Scotland and various places in the British Isles. Yeah. Why has that routing stopped? And is there still talent? Is there enough talent on the island to come and play in Europe? Because it's a big place to come and play. And we've just noticed that has just kind of tailed off, as well as qualifying for the World Cup. The talent has tailed off. Wouldn't that help bring the interest in the country up as well?
The short answer is that we do still continue to have the talent. Here's the reason. Just like in cricket, you put your rules in place, and the rules prevented Jamaican players from coming over and play in the early, because we had to remain in the top 50 for 2 consecutive years. For you to do that, economically, you have to be stable. As a federation, we weren't. And we weren't able to develop the players the way we ought to. The fact is that our Premier League is, for some would say it's a semi-pro league. We want to get it to a professional level. In England, your development takes place in the clubs. What is happening is that it is expected that the federation develop the players, which is difficult because we don't have the infrastructure to do that. The clubs, until we strengthen the clubs financially and in a personal sense, then we will be behind the 8 ball. What we need to do is to get the resources flowing through the clubs, and the development will be sustained in the club. Then we'll get a better product going forward. It is difficult. If you notice, we had players on the fringe. Even our goalkeeper captain, Blake, he was on the fringe of joining a Premier League club or a Championship club. But because of the fact we weren't in the top 50 for 2 consecutive years, his work permit was denied. So those are some of the things that we're grappling with. We are now in the top 50 for 2 consecutive years. And so the opportunity is now there. Now England, I am sure, have changed their policy since recently. So I don't know how much it will affect our players in England.
Funny you say that, because we got Brexit looming, and obviously there's, as you said, they're going to change the policy. Leon Bailey has gone to Germany and become a huge star in the Bundesliga. That's one of the things I'm saying. Leon Bailey has gone and he's become a huge. I'm sure there's people right now watching German football that would want to watch Jamaica. Is there a route into places like European, following in succession to someone like Leon Bailey?
There is a route, but it's a difficult route because you mentioned it. Rules have been changed, quite often, and for our players to be educated the way that the top teams want them to be educated, we need to improve on our coaching. Our top coach in Jamaica has a license. And it's only one coach we have in Jamaica that has an A license. What you need is for our coaching school to be improved. We're working on that. Matter of fact, that is one of the vacancies we need to fill at the JFF, and we'll be filled soon. A principal for our coaching school.
Oh, you want a coach? You need a coach?
We need not coaches, we need instructor, we need a principal.
I'm here.
Now you don't want him
because we can't afford it, because if you say you'll just take £10,000 to come a month, that's over $1 million Jamaican dollars, close to $2 million Jamaican dollars.
Well, I wouldn't. 10,000 is a little bit. It's a little bit cheap for me, mate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to jump in on one of the questions you just asked Dalton, because Dalton's giving you the honest answer from the Jamaican perspective. There's a wider picture to that as well. So here's the story. When you're talking about 98, when we had those players that came over and played in the UK, it was a natural route. It's like, they want to come to the UK. Since that, 23 years ago, what's happened is the USL has happened and the MLS has happened. The MLS is growing at a rate of knots, and from Jamaica to America to its nearest point is like 2.5 hours flight. So even if at its furthest point, if you were, I don't know, in the northeast, you might be on a 5-hour flight, if that. So what's been happening with a lot of the Jamaican players, they're ending up in the USL, and they're ending up in, some of them in the MLS. Not too many in the MLS, because what the MLS has done now, they've gone Hispanic. They've gone for your South Americans, your Central Americans, and the Jamaican players are on the bench. There's hardly any of them playing. Blake, that Dalton mentioned, did have an opportunity to come to the UK, but the work permit situation has changed. And as you quite rightly said, it's changed again. So coming to Europe is an opportunity, but what we have to do, I go back to the point of the World Cup. If we're on the world stage, the world is watching. 3.5 billion people watched the World Cup final the last World Cup. So if you're on that stage, not necessarily at the final, but if we're in the World Cup, people start to think, oh my God, where's that player come from? Where's that player come from? And then people start to drift over to watch you, come and watch you actually in your country. They'll take you raw. They might see a talented player and think, do you know what? I'm going to take a chance on this player and invite him to come to somewhere in Europe. But these things are all on the back of successes on the international stage.
Okay, so I'm going to ask my final question. I don't know if Ernie's going to ask a final question, and either one of you can take it up, because it became the catchphrase of the night alongside the West Ham way. All the need for clean up on the yard, and there's a lot of internal things that need to be done. I'm not going to ask you which corner of the room needs cleaning, Dalton or Winston, but would you agree that there is stuff that you need to do internally to make Jamaica and the islands, the rest of the islands, and it goes to the other islands, to make them a better working federation, a better working football team, better players? Do you concur that there needs to be some cleaning done internally?
No, because I think that term is very loose and it's almost frivolous to say.
I could have gone deeper, but you've kind of
go deeper because no, we're all friends here. Go deeper because we need to be.
Well, I could have gone deeper. You already answered them, because we were talking about situations where players are not attracted to playing from Jamaica. So you've already answered that question. But since we both know, we both can agree there is some degree of the attraction of playing for their country. That means I'm saying, do you need to do better in attracting players? Do you need to have people out there signaling Jamaica in the right way, even when you're not qualifying for World Cups? So does those things need to be done better?
Well, let's put it this way. About 5 months ago, the president of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, made a statement. And it was really on the back of a lot of work that Dalton did some years ago. They've concluded that Ricky Hill, former Luton Town and England international, should come to Jamaica and be the development guru, if you like, for the under 15s, the under 17s and the U15 players, giving them that education, that knowledge, that physical drive, determination, understanding the essence of the game. Because if we don't develop young, we end up with old players that just go in their own way. So we've got to develop young.
What did Ricky Hill say?
Ricky Hill said, Ricky Hill has been approached. We've been in long discussions and sorted an arrangement out. COVID has put a stop to the project happening already, but to have someone of his quality, experience, knowledge of football in Jamaica would be unbelievable. And I mean, those of you that remember him in his playing days, the style of play that he had, and his mind, the way his mind thinks from a coaching point of view, is way different to what I see week in, week out, month in, month out across the Caribbean. So we know that there's going to be brighter situations. But coming back to the question of the cleaning, I would like you to be more specific about what you think needs cleaning, because I don't see anything too dirty out there.
Well, you say, listen, you're gonna try to get me to push this brush all around Jamaican football, and I'm not here to do that. But we do have we've already put those questions to you. You've kind of answered them, but at the same time, I mean, if you don't want to admit that you need to kind of clean it out, there's no problem.
Robbie, I think it's fair that you're asking a question which is kind of up there. We need to know exactly what you think needs cleaning out. Is there a problem that you know about that we don't know about? I'm sure you
can agree, Winston. We've spent the last 30 minutes probing enough to say those questions. If we didn't think they were clear and obvious, because we haven't seen success from 1998, I'm sure you'd understand. That is why I come with this broom.
Yeah, but we didn't see success at Liverpool for 30.
Can you answer what he's talking about? I really don't know what he's talking about.
Listen, can I just say, Winston, I've been doing about 8 of these, and people tell me, why are you horrible? I'm just so glad that somebody else can see what I have to put up with every week. Ask him what he's talking about. He can't tell you.
That seems to be
I know.
the issue.
Listen, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure.
Tell me, I don't know. Tell me.
Listen, Winston. We'll carry on this conversation further on because I don't think this is something that we can cover in one night. And I'm sure. Listen, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure there's a lot of areas that you could talk about, and of course Dalton's with you, and there's stuff that I'm sure you guys have to agree on. So we won't push it no further. But you've kind of given us enough information for us to kind of be aware that clean is being done.
Marlon Allen said something about infrastructure being an issue, and again,
we've talked about that.
No, but he just raised it. I'm just saying, infrastructure being an issue. What part of the infrastructure? What? Caribbean football on a whole just needs to do more to promote itself. It needs to do more to have good development structures. It needs to play more football. It needs to take football seriously. It needs to understand that the global game of football is worth billions. And if the Caribbean is going to tap into those billions, it has to be serious.
But Winston, if my learned friend who texted in asked those questions, if they've asked those questions, obviously there's a concern about those questions. So you coming on here and making it clear to us. I mean, you can't just say, "Would you want to ask me?"
Here's a good one. I mean, there's a good one. Fields in Jamaica. Dalton, you can answer that.
Yes, Winston, I'd admit that the quality of our field is not A1. There is still some work to be done. Some improvement needs to be done with our infrastructure and facilities. It's down to our economic situation. The money is not really there. We're trying our best. Yes, we just acquired an AstroTurf for the national team. The only one in the country. A country like Jamaica needs at least 13 AstroTurfs, at least 13 of them. There's a plan that we do have to put at least 4 technical centers throughout Jamaica. That one has an AstroTurf, that has accommodation for dormitory. It has an office, it has a gym, and the basic infrastructure is there for us to develop our talent. Yes, the program with Ricky Hill, it's there. It is something that we are committed to. Ricky is committed to also. And hopefully that will drive the professionalizing of the youngsters at that age where they need the grooming. That's a plan that we have. Hopefully the COVID will recede and we'll be able to roll out that program in early summer.
So, Dalton, you talk about this plan, right? I mean, time is up against us now, but you talk about this plan. But is there a time limit on this plan? You're saying summer. Summer's like a few months away, and I understand that there's going to be. I mean, Winston might be able to shed some light, or yourself. There's going to be a tournament where here in the UK that's been put together. That possibility of Jamaica might be coming in. Time seems to be of essence here.
First of all, Dalton, 1 second. First of all, Ernie, when I spoke to you about that, I did say to you, it's in confidence, and now you got it out the big wide world. With friends like you, who needs enemies?
Well, if we want to get as much people there as possible, Winston, we know our eye the thing.
Winston, you knew the broom. Listen, Winston, I know you were trying to avoid it, but you knew the broom was coming out tonight. Listen, I want to say this, Winston. I respect you. You're somebody I've known for a long time. You brought me into something that I had no reason to be a part of, and you said, "Robbo, you've come through, come get involved," and we got involved. And I will always support as much as I can. Once you make the call. And obviously, Dalton, it's the first time we've spoken to you, but we've raised concerns like during the week's
connection
show.
with your
So,
daughter. You need to know.
so
what's
hearing it firsthand means I can kind of put away the duster a little bit. But listen, we want you guys to come back on to tell us the progress of Jamaica football, and obviously the announcements of some of the players who are happy to now to look at Jamaica. We want to hear more about that, and the more we throw light to that, there's a lot of people that didn't know that Mason Holgate and Antonio was involved. I know Rodney's covered it on his paper, but more stories like that brings us a lot more joy. So please do come back, and we hope to do it soon where you can tell us a little bit more. So you can easy, Winston, easy.
I will come back, but it's all up to Winston.
Pardon?
Winston is my agent. Winston, am I allowed to come back?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more you come back, the more I earn.
He's a hard man. He's a hard man. But listen, Winston, thank you for coming through, man. There's a lot more questions our audience who want to come through and ask, but I'm sure we can do it again. And if we can plot the progress as we go along, it would be really great. And I'm not taking a taxi, you Chelsea fan. Thank you very much.
But listen, Dalton, before you go, next time you come on, you see that shirt you got on. Allow it, bro. Allow it.
Listen, I want to say thank you for Tipper Irie. Tipper, thank you for coming through. I know you got new music coming out. I don't want you to drop the Bad Mind song for Ernie. I might play it for you, so send it over here. Thank you to Tipper Irie for coming through. The legend, the UK legend, Tipper Irie, aka what Ernie was going to say hello, darling.
Big up from Saxon Studios.
Shouts to Red the End, aka Nivea, in the building. And of course, Rodney Hines, man. Daddy Ernie, we need a top. Listen, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. It's the Fixture List. Peace.
Make sure you let them know.
Bless. Yeah.
Thank you.